Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great day. It's your friendly neighborhood SFED, Mary Elizabeth, talking to you about how to set up your Blackboard Collaborate Ultra sessions. It's crazy to think that we're a week away. Hopefully we've waded through most of the PD, and now it's time to actually set up our quote-unquote classrooms. So you're going to go to your Blackboard schedule login, which these instructions are also printed for you. And you're going to log in using your username. Your username is your full SCPS email address. So for mine, it would be mturtel@fcps.edu. Then you're going to click in your password, which your password should not be your network ID or your network password, the same one that you use to log into everything else. And I'll explain the reason why we're asking it not in a little bit. I say keep it simple. There's not like the different parameters that you have to do with other things. The other thing is, let's say you're like, hey, I know I don't have a Blackboard account, or I had it in the spring and everything is so fuzzy afterwards, I don't know what to do. Or let's say you're like me, who set it the other day and totally forgot what I set it to. Totally normal. Sure. What you're going to do is you're going to press the forgot password. What that will do is will prompt you to enter your SCPS email address, and it'll send you a quick link. It takes like just a couple minutes to do. What you're going to do is you're going to press login. Then, so we're actually going to be creating two sessions. One is going to be our virtual office, and then one is going to be our virtual classroom. Your virtual office is going to be, first of all, used for our open house that we're hosting on Thursday at 3 p.m. It can also be used for meetings with parents or other people. So for an example, let's say you're like, I really want to talk to Janie about something. I'm going to send a link to my virtual office and just have her come in. And this would be the same link throughout. So you'll kind of see that, in fact, we're going to use Tom's virtual office as our faculty meetings. And we'll talk about that a little bit later too. So what you're going to do is you're going to come up here and you're going to create session. And you're going to title it your name, and I would say whatever your students like to call you. So while my initial instinct is to call it Mary Elizabeth, I don't exactly want my kiddos calling me Mary Elizabeth, so I'm going to call it Mrs. Ortel's virtual office. Then what you're going to do is you're going to click on this link that says guest access. Now one thing to note, when it says guest link over here, it's not going to pop up with a guest link until you actually create your session. So don't fret and be like, oh my gosh, I created guest access and it's not. You also want to make sure that guest role is a participant, because you do not want moderator privileges with somebody like coming in and controlling things. So the start date, guys, we're actually going to start on the day for our virtual open house, which is September 3rd. The start time, we're going to have it as 3 o'clock p.m. and you can either scroll through the buttons or just type it in. And then, because ignore that, I want to keep this open, I'm going to click where it says no end as an open session, because I'm actually going to keep this session going and have it just kind of as my office space until we are done with virtual learning and whenever that might be. The next thing, when you click early entry, I recommend keeping it about 15 minutes before start time. Now that does not mean you need to be there in 15 minutes, because I'm going to show you some ways to kind of, even though it's an open session, kind of put some controls in there. I always say the best practice, like we ask our kids to be in the classroom 10 minutes before, you might just want to be there, even if you put like a message up like, hey, I'm coming soon, I'll be right there, etc., just so that they know that you're there and ready. So with the early entry, you can change it. One thing to note, whatever you have as your entry is the time that you can log into. So you can't whatever session, since I'm not starting this to the 3rd, I can't just decide to log in now. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go over here to our lovely gear thing. And we're going to do a couple things. First of all, we're going to anonymize chat messages. So what that means, and it's under the recording, so that what that means is if you were to display a recording of this later, your chat box is not going to say Mrs. Smith said this and Mr. Brown said this. It will just have like user and it give the comment on it. I mean, we want to make sure that we protect people's privacy that way, so we want to make sure that we anonymize chat messages. The other thing I'd recommend you do, or I'm asking you to do, is to show where it says moderator permissions, you're going to show profile pictures for moderators only. The reason being with this is while I'm sure all of us have very professional little profile emojis or bitmojis or whatever it might be, some people don't. And especially if they're using like their personal email account or everything like that. Or if you're like in my case, when I worked with my lovely middle school kids, we had some kids popping up with like Freddy Krueger and stuff like that. And we don't want that out there. So we want to try to keep it professional. So just click that. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to disable these permissions. With the share audio, share video, no posting chat messages, and no on drawing whiteboard and files. And what this means is when they enter your session, they will not be able to do basically anything until you enable those permissions. So what that does is that protects you from people just being able to use your chat space to just kind of congregate or whatever. So before you use your Office, when you enter, one of the first things that you'll do is you'll enable those participant permissions. And by enable, I mean just click the box and press save. The next thing, since this is our office, we're going to allow attendees to join the session using a telephone. The next thing, because I like to be included in all the chatter in my virtual office, I'm going to click, excuse me, participants can chat privately only with me, so that if this is basically no private like chat rooms or whatever. And then, this is a new feature for them, for Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, but if needed be, sorry guys, I have a frog in my throat, you're going to click hide profanity in chat messages. I don't see the need for that now, but please note you can always click and change these as you go. Then what you're going to do is you're going to press create. Then what that is going to do is if I go up here, you will see that this is actually the office I just created. If I click on it here, or just click on it in general, there you go, I will be able to see the sessions. And when I talk about your guest link in a little bit, this is where you'll get your guest link. And the great thing is handy dandy, you can copy it, and then you literally just kind of send that out to whatever. So when I put in our faculty meetings, I literally, when we start kind of doing that, or when I'm sending out invites for my virtual office, I literally just copy and paste that directly in there. Super easy. Then we're going to, so now that we've created our virtual office, and this is going to be once again the link that you're going to use for our open house, because we want parents to be able to access it, and also to hopefully make it easy, but I also wanted us to have something that we could use more than one time. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to come over here and you're going to create another session. Now this session is your classroom. So I'm going to call it Mrs. Ertel's Virtual Classroom. Now, you want to enable guest access, but please note, excuse me guys, guest access cannot be used for students. That's part of the whole issue that we came into in the spring, where we had some unwanted visitors. So guys, guest access can only be used with people, with adults. So please, please, please never give that access link to a student. The other thing is, guys, for the guest role, you want it to be a participant, because you don't want somebody coming in and deciding to kind of control your presentation, etc. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come down to the start date, and we're going to select the first day of school, which is September 8th. For our time, we're going to set 9 o'clock, because that's about the time our day begins, I believe. Make sure you set AM, not PM. Then, for our end time, we're going to set it at 4 o'clock, Now, one thing to note about these start and end times, if for some reason you're still chatting with a student after 4 o'clock, I don't know why you might be, but just in case, it's not going to cut you out. If you're still actively in the session, it's not going to boot you out and be like, hey, by the way, you've missed your time. So just a little note about that. So you're going to say 4 o'clock p.m. Then what you're going to do is you're going to click on this button here that says repeat session. And I'm going to look at repeat weekly every week, and then I'm going to click on the days of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Then, where it says end occurrence, I'm going to put the end occurrence on the date, and for now, I'm going to change that right now till June 12th. Now keep in mind, I hope that we are out of this whole pandemic beforehand, but we just kind of want to set up for success, and once again, we can always change that. So you're going to set that for June 12th, 2021. Then for early entry, this is the same thing I've said before with this. For early entry, whatever you set it to is also going to be the only time you can get in as well. So I always say 15 minutes before start time, and that's the time that I will kind of start getting in, etc. But just like we did before, we're going to disable some of the permissions so that you're not kind of in there with a chat room with people possibly being unsupervised, with kids being unsupervised. So you're going to put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then I'm going to go to my cog for my session settings here. Once I do my cog, excuse me, I am going to anonymize chat messages, and once again, or anonymized chat messages, excuse me, that is only for that's only for the recording. So if there's a chat box, like if I'm in a live session, I'm going to be able to see that Susie Q said this. Then once again, I'm going to show my profile for moderator only. They only get to see my beautiful Bitmoji or whatever it might be. And that does not mean you can't see video of them, by the way. Keep that in mind. Then you're going to cross out share audio, show video, post chat messages, and draw on whiteboard and files. The reason I really like this is, once again, you don't want there to be discussion in your room without you present. So until you enable these permissions, nothing can basically happen in your room. Then the next thing, since we're dealing with students and not adults, we're going to disable the enable allow attendees to join using a telephone. We definitely want to let them only chat privately with you. From there, then we're going to come back here and we're going to press invitations. And this is where you get to start inviting people. So one of the things that you're going to do is, in some of the instructions that we have here, I actually gave you how you can basically make a spreadsheet with kids' guest emails, etc., with kids' email addresses, etc., on there. So you just literally can copy and paste it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to invite some students. So it says, I'm going to press the button that says invite an attendee. And then I'm going to go to my handy dandy spreadsheet that I clicked here. And my first attendee is Bobby Bobcat. So I'm going to copy it, Control C, and then paste it, which is Control V. Then, I'm anal about spacing, sorry guys. Then what you're going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to Control C, copy that lovely email address. Don't send that, my friend. One moment. I'm going to Control C, and then Control V. And I'm going to have Bobby be as a participant. Beautiful. And I'm going to add him to my session. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my next student. So once I get into my spreadsheet here, I have Pete Cat. So, excuse me, Control C. To my spreadsheet, here's my name, Control V. To my email address, once again, go to my spreadsheet. Click out of, by the way, when you're doing this, so you want to stop copying it, you just have to click like escape or anywhere else on the spreadsheet. Sorry, it keeps opening that email. Then Control C. Come on, baby. Or like that. And then there. And that's how I'm going to add participants. I'm going to keep on doing that. One thing you do want to keep in mind is that the name is the name that he, she, or they go by. We want to definitely make sure that we're culturally sensitive for our people. And if you realize that during a class that your that your student goes by a name that is not on whatever record that they have on there, that they have listed as their name that they go by, you can always basically just delete them from it and just resend an invite with their new name. And I can show you how to do that if need be. This is an example. Like, I had a student who was listed as Lauren, but he has decided to become Logan. So on the permanent records, everything it said Lauren, but he preferred to go by Logan. So I wanted to make sure that in this I would call him Logan, to be sensitive for his needs. The next thing you're going to do, after you've invited your students, you get to invite some other people. You're going to invite any specialists that you might have. So for an example, I love our librarian. I want to make sure that she can come in here. So I'm going to label her as Mrs. Frost. Then I'm going to go to my lovely Outlook and I'm going to copy her email, put it here, and since she's going to be teaching a lesson, I'm going to give her moderator access. So what that means is that when she comes and teaches my class, she will have basically all the same kind of controls that I will. One thing I am asking you to do is to list me as a moderator and all specialists. And the only reason, guys, I have no intention of coming to control your class, but it is one of those things of if I get an SOS, or if you're like, hey, Mary Elizabeth, I want you to come and co-teach something with me, it just kind of takes out that middleman. Then what you're going to do is you're going to add Miss Frost to session. And then you're going to go ahead and add whatever specialist it is. So you might want to add me. And I happen to know my email address. Thank goodness. One few things I know on this Sunday night. Then you're going to label it as I get to be a moderator, and then add to session. Once you've got your invitations and everything again, you're going to press create. And now my session is created. And if you go to my session details, you will see I've got guest access. I do want to click that, and I'll explain why in a little bit later. I'm going to press save there, and then I'll have my guest link. Notice, guys, I forgot to press guest accesses first, and notice how easy it was for me to put that back in. Alright, so now I've set up my 2 essential sessions. Now what I'm going to do is a little bit of kind of Bellevue housekeeping. One of the parts of the instructions is asking you to fill out a Google form. So I'm going to click onto my link to my Google form, which is right here. It says Bellevue BBCU links. And I'm going to put my last name. Actually, I'm adjusting the name. One moment. Let's try that again. Sorry guys, I had the original one done. So I'm going to once again pretend I didn't do that. I'm going to go to this lovely Google form that I have. And I see the first thing I'm going to ask is my last name. So I'm going to type in my last name. Then I'm going to type in my first name. Then I'm going to put my grade level, and it should just be a drop down. I'm a support staff. Then I'm asking you to share your username. So once again, I put mine out here as scps.edu. The reason I am asking this is because if an emergency occurs, we need to be able to get into your schedule account without preferably bugging you a bunch. Also, this would occur if we have a sub, etc. This is a way that only I can get into it, set everything up. Because what will happen is that Tom or Nancy or Janie or Betsy or Donna will be like, hey, by the way, Mrs. Awesome Bobcat is going to be out. We need your help. So this gives me access to get to play with things, etc., and just makes it super easy. I will be the only one who knows this information. So please keep in mind, I'm not going to be broadcasting or anything like that. This is just a safeguard for you as well. Because my also firm believer is if there's a reason if you have to take a day, we want to make sure you have that day and don't have to worry so much about it. I know how it is being a teacher. The next thing, guys, you're going to put your password in here. Once again, it's only me that's seeing that. So my password will be Bobcat7. Then I'm going to go here and it says the guest link for my virtual office. So I'm going to go to my lovely BBCU account and I'm going to grab it here. I'm going to copy that link. I'm going to paste it there. Then my guest link for my virtual classroom. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my lovely virtual classroom. I'm going to open you up, my friend. One moment. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I'm going to double click those links. I'm going to press copy guest link. Once again, I'm going to put it here. Then, if I am a CLT or a department lead, and I know you and I have emailed back and forth a little bit about this, but just keep a consistent list. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my CLT or department meeting link here. Once you're done, you're going to press submit. And then what that's going to show up on my side, just to kind of show you hopefully what that will look like, as you can see, what I will be able to do is I'll be able to quickly pull a spreadsheet. And this will tell me all this lovely information there. So it will tell me the email address, the name, the grade level, etc. So what I will be able to do is I will be able to actually send out guest links to your office, and I will make a general list of that, and to your classes, so that we'll have kind of a virtual directory. And so let's say you are Tom and Nancy, or anybody wants to kind of pop in for an observation, etc., they'll just click on that guest link, and this prevents us from having to search a million different places for it. Once again, guys, when I'm sharing this with Tom and Nancy, I will take out the username and password. It is only for my eyes only. I swear to you. Guys, I'm also going to be leading a virtual session on this on, I believe it's Wednesday at 10 o'clock. I'll send out the invite. Should you have any questions or concerns? I know it can be a little overwhelming. I promise you kind of get the hang out of it. And I got to tell you, for me, it's kind of fun. I'm such a nerd. But anyway, I am here to support you, so please let me know how I can help. And I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye-bye.